Back in his office, Rakuto listens intently, holding a document as the phone call with Charlie continues. Charlie confirms that Kazami from the Seven Stars has given the go-ahead for their involvement. Rakuto remarks that Charlie is quite adept at convincing him. To this, Charlie replies, "It would have been easier if Shining Light were still around." Charlie, sitting down, states that it can't be helped and they need to address this significant problem quickly. He muses that it's impossible for an S-class dungeon to expand into other countries, noting they spent 2 weeks desperately trying to contain it, and he hasn't heard anything since last week. Rakuto, at his desk, inquires when the operation is expected to take place. A document titled Mizuyasa Village S-Class Dungeon Investigation, Report Number 01, is shown, with a note indicating it will happen after 45 days. Charlie, slightly annoyed, asks Rakuto who he's glaring at, stating he also wants to get this over with. Rakuto explains that one of Kazami's key members is injured and will need at least a month to recover, adding that Seven Stars members are irreplaceable. Charlie then mentions that, aside from this, there seems to be an internal rift in the Kazami family, as the younger members have disappeared, expressing sympathy for Kazami, who needs to find his siblings. 45 days later, a swirling blue dungeon portal crackles with energy. A party of explorers, including Rue, ventures into the dimly lit rocky passage of the dungeon. Rue, now with light blue hair, stands with a cool and composed demeanor, an aura of power surrounding him. A younger, flushed explorer nervously tells Rue, "Hurry, the boss is almost here." Rue remains stoic. The group of explorers halts as they perceive something ahead in the cavern. An imposing horned rabbit-like creature with glowing red eyes, identified as the area boss, appears before them. One of the explorers shouts, "Get ready for battle!" as the team charges forward with weapons drawn. The explorers engage the formidable area boss in a chaotic flurry of attacks. Observing the fight, one of the rear scouts remarks on the boss's strength and the leader's decision to bring only 3 experienced rear scouts, while another wistfully says, "I want to fight too." A bald explorer with an axe prepares to deliver a powerful downward strike. He leaps high, bringing his axe down on the monstrous rabbit, while another warrior simultaneously pierces its underbelly. Standing over the vanquished beast, the bald axeman declares, "It's over. Let's head back." As the team regroups, several pairs of boots tread purposefully through the dimly lit dungeon. Rue, positioned centrally with a grave expression, is flanked by 2 stern-faced explorers, the rest of the party following. A close-up on Rue's intense red eye reveals a suspicion. Something's off about them. They're too fast. The younger explorer nervously inquires if Rue knows something, to which Rue voices his unease about their rapid attack speed and the scarcity of monsters, advising caution. A hand gently clasps Rue's shoulder, drawing his attention. With a disarming smile, the younger explorer suggests Rue proceed ahead, assuring him they will provide cover from the rear. Rue, his expression unreadable, simply responds, "Got it," accepting the proposition. Suddenly, the other explorers close in, encircling Rue and the younger man, prompting Rue to internally question. We're surrounded. What are they planning? From the dark passage, a small peculiar creature with a playing card body and a tiny hat emerges, catching Rue's attention. The card creature, identified as the King of Spades, displays a spinning wheel with question marks on its torso glowing ominously. One of the treacherous explorers grins, exclaiming, "Ha, it's out!" Lucky. As his companion smirks beside him, the terrified younger explorer collapses to the ground, asking, What is that?" Rue looks on with grim understanding. Desperately, the younger explorer pleads with Rue, "I know the enemy's characteristics, so I can help you explore. It's an invisible monster. We need to sacrifice a person to it. Use me, I'm useful." Rue, his red eyes glinting coldly, asks, "An invisible monster? Is that why you brought us here?" A flashback shows Nana collapsing onto a bed, exclaiming, "I'm tired. Today we came across an invisible monster." In the flashback, Rue holds drinks and asks Nana, "What's that?" She replies, "A really annoying monster. It forces people to vote for sacrifices." Nana further explains, "It's like roulette. You survive based on the number of spaces you get. The enemy is invisible until you make a choice, so it's called an invisible monster. As images of the card monster and a ticking clock appear, Rue inquires, "So it plays with people? Is there a countdown?" Nana somberly responds, "Who knows? Everyone who's seen it is dead." She explains that the monster makes people kill each other, grimly adding that some people want that. Still in the memory, Rue asks his sister if this particular creature drops any valuable items. As Nana takes a sip from her glass, he further inquires about what happens if someone is chosen as a sacrifice. She pauses, holding her drink with a somber expression as she contemplates his question. Back in the dungeon, the King of Spades monster displays a flaming 60-second timer above its head. With a directive, "You need to kill it," appearing as its roulette wheel shows the number 2. The card creature projects holographic images of all 8 explorers, including Rue and the younger man. As the fiery countdown ticks down from 55, a treacherous explorer's hand reaches out and decisively taps Rue's holographic portrait, selecting him. 2 of the betrayers, looking at the chosen holographic images of Rue and the young explorer, remark that they can use the trash's ability and decide, "Then let's go with these 2. As the rest of the party observes from the passage, the blazing digital timer displayed above the King of Spades monster rapidly counts down to 0. With the time expired, the card creature unleashes its power, causing numerous sharp blue energy spikes to erupt from the cavern floor around a startled Rue and the terrified younger explorer. The King of Spades monster flashes a wide, unsettling grin, its sharp teeth visible. Its card-like body cracks as it lets out a pained gah. Recoiling from an unseen force, the younger explorer collapses in despair, muttering, "This is impossible. There's no way we'll win." As Rue stands resolute with his sword, he turns toward the defeated young man and coldly inquires, "Do you want to die?" The young explorer, utterly dejected, explains, "This boss is 3 to 5 times stronger than the Guardian. We can't win." Abruptly, the younger explorer lunges forward, a desperate energy surrounding him. Rue deftly sidesteps as the young man tries to shove him toward the menacing creature, having missed. The young explorer stumbles past Rue, who simultaneously parries a fiery attack from the King of Spades. After the exchange, Rue catches his breath and glances at the sprawled young explorer, who weakly utters, "You?" With his sword radiating a crimson glow, Rue fiercely proclaims, "If you want to be a sacrifice, do it on your own. I won't give up, no matter who my opponent is." With his sword ablaze, Rue leaps toward the King of Spades, preparing to strike at its fiery, toothy maw. A colossal swirling red and black vortex consumes the landscape labeled as Mizuyasa Village. Before this ominous vortex, Charlie Liss stands with arms crossed, then turns as if sensing an arrival. A polished black shoe steps firmly onto the desolate ground near the swirling red energy. Kazami Shun, one of the 7 stars known as Tenken, appears with his axe and 2 solemn companions, blood splattering his clothes. Charlie addresses Kazami, who explains that Tsuyoshi was sacrificed. Looking downcast, Kazami apologizes to Charlie, admitting he wasn't strong enough as a captain. When Charlie inquires about the events in the dungeon, Kazami reveals they encountered an invisible monster. Refusing to choose a sacrifice, Tsuyoshi volunteered to stay behind. Charlie listens with a grim expression. When he asks about Tsuyoshi in the book, Kazami, with a slight somber smile, states that he destroyed it, deeming it the safest course of action. Running a hand through his hair in exasperation, Charlie mutters to himself about always getting stuck in these situations. Taking a drag from a cigarette, he feels a need to check the process, no matter who does it. Believing the child of luck is humanity's biggest threat, he lights a cigarette, reflecting that this precious child of luck used the lives of 4 S-class and 17 A-class individuals to become a powerful killer. With a grim look, Charlie considers that Tsuyoshi is a strong kid, but if he becomes a child of luck, he'll have no choice but to take the life of a 7-star. Kazami's companions approach, informing Charlie, "Captain, it's time." Kazami instructs him to tell the chief that the highest rank in the dungeon might not be S-class. Adjusting his formal suit jacket, he wears a serious expression. Turning slightly, Kazami reveals, "I got this letter," adding, It was written that a female companion stand behind him. Charlie's eyes widen in disbelief, the cigarette falling from his lips as the shocking news is delivered. Shining Light has been revived. Back in the dungeon, Rue skillfully parries a barrage of shadowy tendril attacks from the King of Spades, sparks flying. He braces himself, using his sword to block a powerful direct strike from the grinning card creature. A bead of sweat rolls down Rue's temple as his glowing red eye displays intense focus and strain, a grunt escaping him. Rue slides across the cavern floor, sword extended, narrowly evading the monster's assault. The King of Spades unleashes a flurry of crimson energy tendrils from its gaping maw. A powerful shockwave from the creature sends Rue tumbling backward through the air. Bracing himself on the ground, Rue internally acknowledges the monster's incredible power, but realizes that if it were truly 5 times stronger than the Guardian, he would already be defeated. With a determined glint in his eyes, Rue pushes himself up, a new understanding dawning on him as the King of Spades' wide, malevolent grin seems to mock him. As Rue deduces that the creature is merely toying with him, his gloved hand firmly grips his sword, parrying one of the monster's swift, red-tipped tendrils. While airborne, Rue observes that the creature can easily extend its limbs, making ranged combat disadvantageous. He notes with keen interest that despite its attacks, the monster's main card-like body hasn't shifted at all. Fending off multiple tendrils, Rue begins to suspect that the creature's immobility might be its critical weakness. Planting his foot and hand firmly, he prepares to launch himself forward. He lunges toward the King of Spades, sword extended, exclaiming, "I'll give it a try." A confident smirk appears on Rue's face as he believes the strategy is succeeding. Thinking, looks like it's working. His blade plunges directly into monstrous card creature's gaping, tooth-filled maw. Suddenly, Rue's expression turns to shock as the situation takes an unexpected turn. The creature's sharp teeth clamp down, shattering Rue's sword as sparks fly. One of the monster's red-tipped tendrils swiftly wraps around Rue's ankle, ensnaring him. With a malevolent grin, the King of Spades yanks Rue off balance, slamming him onto its flat card body lying on the ground. The monster then violently smashes Rue face first into the hard cavern floor. Rue lets out a choked gasp, his red eye wide with pain from the brutal impact. The defeated young explorer questions Rue's persistence, despairingly asking why he continues to fight an unbeatable foe. Rue's midsection is shown tightly constricted by the creature's glowing red tendril. Suspended upside down by the tendril wrapped around his waist, Rue dangles helplessly before the grinning King of Spades. His vision blurs with oppressive red and black shadows as he hangs limply, his hair obscuring his face. With blood trickling from his eye and mouth, he bleakly thinks, "So this is how I die." A luminous vision of Nana then appears before him, her hand outstretched, gently saying, "Brother, let's go home." His own gloved hand reaches toward hers in this ethereal memory, his mind uttering her name, Nana. The scene transitions to 4 years ago, depicting Rue and a cat-eared girl standing somberly before a grave adorned with a bouquet of flowers. Displayed on the tombstone is a wedding photograph of Ikoma Kasumi and Ikoma Enji, with an inscription explaining that Kasumi died a month prior while saving Enji in a dungeon, having always looked after him to prevent his depression. In that past moment by the grave, Rue comforts the tearful girl, telling her, "It's not your fault, Nana." She responds hesitantly, "I know, but—" Wiping away a tear, she confesses her fear since Aoma's death, anxiously wondering what she would do if her brother were to die someday. As Rue observes her, she utters his name, Nana, then adds with conviction, "But I know." With newfound resolve, she declares to Rue, "I'll do my best for you, brother. You're my life." She adds that if he perishes, her own life would lose all meaning. Firmly, she states, "I know you want to become an explorer, brother, but I won't let that happen as long as I'm alive." Rue listens silently, his expression thoughtful as ellipses hang in the air. Gently patting her head, he reassures her, "Okay, it won't happen, so don't worry." He then questions, "Don't you hate that?" With a gentle smile, Rue affirms, "It's fine. You're the most important person to me." Transitioning back to the present of the dungeon, the young explorer, filled with desperate courage, yells, "Ooh, here I come." Brandishing his sword, he lunges at the King of Spades monster, his blade striking its card-like body, while Rue remains ensnared in the background. Still captive and bleeding, Rue watches the young explorers charge with intense focus, uttering, "You." The young explorer recoils in terror as one of the monster's red-tipped tendrils lunges toward him. Its sharp appendage pierces through the young man's chest, causing blood to erupt from a wound. He is violently flung backward, crashing hard against a rocky cavern wall. Slumping to the ground, he is grievously wounded, bleeding from his mouth and eye. The King of Spades monster opens its enormous, tooth-filled maw, preparing to consume the ensnared Rue. As Rue is pulled into Creature's gaping mouth, he lets out a blood-curdling scream of pain. With fierce determination in his glowing red eyes, Rue desperately pushes against the monster's teeth, vowing, "I can't die until I find the truth behind Nana's death." He continues to resist being devoured, yelling, "No matter what happens, I won't let anyone get in my way." A close-up of his blood-streaked, resolute eyes reflects his unwavering thought. "I won't lose. I won't lose." With blood dripping from his mouth and an intense glare, Rue internally declares, "I won't die? Not in a place like this." With a final surge of resolve, as he is pulled into the monster's maw, he vows, "I will defeat Nana's enemy." The young explorer is shown impaled to the chest, blood arcing from his mouth as he is violently thrown back. Rue, still ensnared, is whipped around by the creature, his body contorting from the force. He lies on the dungeon floor, bloodied and seemingly defeated, his eyes closed in pain. The King of Spades monster, glowing with intense red energy and digital fragments, roars with its massive toothy maw wide open. Rue, now sitting up and looking toward where the monster was, sees it dissipating into glowing red particles against the cavern wall. Wounded and panting, he wonders aloud, "Did I get it? Did I bite through to its core?" A violent cough racks his body, and he expels a spray of dark blood. Lying on his back amidst the dim light and glowing particles, a faint bloodied smile touches Rue's lips as he murmurs, "It's a draw. Sorry, Nana." Suddenly, his red eye widens in shock as shimmering green healing particles begin to envelop him. Lying on the ground, Rue looks up in surprise at a glowing blue holographic screen that has appeared before him, questioning, "What is this?" He gazes intently as indecipherable glowing script materializes on the bright blue interface. The screen clarifies, "Obtain hyperheal low-spec, single-use passive healing special item automatically used," causing his eyes to widen in astonishment. Reaching out a gloved hand, he tentatively touches the luminous blue display, which confirms the acquisition of the hyperheal low-spec item. Another blue notification promptly appears, announcing skill obtained, X reuse. Later, while resting on his bed and examining a similar blue screen, Rue muses that he found the skill in the dungeon and has been looking into it, but still doesn't understand its function, as the notification merely stated he acquired it. Unlike the more descriptive hyperheal, sitting up with a self-deprecating smile, he reflects on his weakness, acknowledging his continued reliance on miracles as faint blue particles drift around him. His phone, resting beside him on the bed, suddenly rings, displaying Kuji-san as the incoming caller. Answering the call with a serious expression, Rue confirms, "Hello. Okay, got it. I'm heading out now." In a dimly lit alleyway, Mr. Kuji spots him, smiling broadly and waving as he calls out, "Rue, over here." Apologizing for the delay, Kuji tells Rue they're not ready yet and to have a seat, as other explorers stand near a large dungeon portal. Sitting on a bench, Kuji inquires if Rue's injuries are okay. Rue replies, "They're better now and will be fully healed in a few days, thanks to hyperheal." Kuji expresses his frustration, stating that most people in dungeons are useless and that one needs a reliable team to be a combat explorer, but all the famous ones already have parties. A female explorer with a red top and twin swords on her back interrupts, announcing to Rue and the other hooded figures, "The rear support. It's work time." As Rue acknowledges her, the group of explorers walks toward the swirling blue dungeon portal. Kuji tells Rue, "We'll talk later. Let's do the job first." Emerging into a fantastical, brightly lit forest filled with giant, colorful mushrooms, Kuji looks back at Rue with a bead of sweat asking, "Is something wrong?" Kuji explains that this is a resource-rich dungeon with a relatively low-risk boss, but cautions that it's not good to hang around in the back. A young, curly-haired explorer with a pickaxe excitedly holds up a sparkling purple mushroom, exclaiming, "It's a shine, a lucky!" Another explorer struggles to chop down a tree as Kuji remarks to Rue, "Look, it's not life-threatening, but collecting them is a pain." Kuji turns to Rue, saying, "If I'd known, I wouldn't have called you." Rue responds, "I don't mind, and I can learn more," prompting Kuji to reply, "Well, not everything is a hassle. Follow me." They venture deeper into a sun-dappled forest, filled with sparkling ethereal light. Rue, examining a peculiar red bird-shaped artifact, remarks, "There's a lot of strange stuff here." Kuji, behind him, states, "We can't use that." The female combat explorer informs Kuji, "We've defeated the enemy. Please take these two to clean things up. We'll go gather some food." Kuji acknowledges with a "got it." As Rue and another support member proceed into the glowing mushroom grove, Rue suggests, "Let's go inside." While Kuji watches with a hint of apprehension, Rue's gloved hand emits a faint blue pixelated glow accompanied by a subtle sound effect. He glances back with a knowing look, his hand still faintly shimmering from the activation. Rue then pauses, looking inquisitively at a peculiar glowing red mushroom amidst a patch of other strangely shaped fungi. Kuji, turning back, urges, "What are you doing? Let's go." Meanwhile, Rue looks down, internally wondering, "When did I drop this?" referring to the red artifact. Suddenly, a massive dark-skinned monster covered in glowing red mushrooms roars in agony as it's powerfully struck. The female warrior tells Kuji, "I'll heal the injured, so please clean up over here." He, along with Rue and the other support members, responds, "Leave it to us." 20 minutes later, the support team, including Rue, is seen gathering resources around the fallen mushroom-covered monster in the vibrant, sparkling forest. Holding a freshly picked carrot, Rue muses that the dungeon's environment dictates its resources, noting this one is full of plants, unlike the previous mineral-rich one. Kuji asks if Rue has collected enough, as it's time to head back. Rue, holding a box laden with red berries, confirms, "I have more than enough." Suddenly, a monstrous clawed hand erupts from the ground, gripping Rue's ankle. He is visibly startled as he is abruptly pulled, his box of collected berries flying from his grasp. Violently dragged backward through the air, his sword still at his hip, Rue's gloved hand slams against the ground, a faint blue pixelated energy briefly appearing upon impact. The other two support members, Kuji and the young explorer, watch in stunned disbelief as Rue is whisked away by an unseen entity. Rue looks back with wide, alarmed eyes and a bead of sweat on his temple as he's pulled into the foliage. Kuji, looking concerned, questions how the monster could have disappeared when there was still 1 minute left, while the younger explorer looks on anxiously. Rue, glancing back at Kuji and the other explorer, states, "Well, whatever. Let's get out of here." A close-up shows Rue's boot stepping toward the glowing blue dungeon exit portal. Turning to Kuji, Rue explains, "Kuji, I got something to do, so I'll go back first." Kuji replies, "Got it. I'll transfer the reward once it's paid." The scene shifts to a sunlit view of Rue's modern apartment building. Inside, Rue's hand hovers over a blue holographic interface, displaying, "Obtain flexible mycelium X2 and one unread message." Interacting with the glowing blue screen, Rue wonders aloud, does this mean it had no time to investigate? The interface updates to show, "Obtain flexible mycelium X2 and obtain unusable mycelium X1. A nearby Chibiru exclaims in surprise, "That mushroom decomposed it." With dawning comprehension, Rue exclaims, "Monster corpses and black currants are worthless, so I can use X to break down junk and turn into items." A determined glint in his eyes, Rue clenches his fist, thinking, "If I'm lucky, I might even get a skill. If I use this right, I can make it on my own." A tight close-up focuses on Rue's intense, glowing red eyes, reflecting his newfound resolve. Standing in his living room, Rue contemplates his vulnerability, acknowledging that he lacks the strength to protect himself if his newfound ability is discovered by others. He sits down, pondering his next move as the blue holographic interface hovers nearby, wondering what he should do. Gazing at the skills obtained notification, Rue recognizes that his current weakness prevents solo dungeon expeditions, but staying in the rear offers opportunities to touch monster corpses. Leaning back with arms crossed, he considers the inherent risk of using his skill, understanding he must be discreet, even though it won't always be straightforward. Suddenly, an idea strikes him, accompanied by a metaphorical light bulb, though he hesitates, concerned it might inconvenience Kuji. A determined Chiburu clenches his fists, resolving to proceed with his plan, intending to use a skill and gradually repay Kuji. The scene shifts to an imposing sunlit mansion, suggesting a change in location or a new character's introduction. Through a window, a young man with dark hair, a bandaged head, and his arm in a sling looks out pensively. Now in bed, the injured young man looks up in surprise as a well-dressed older man enters his room, prompting him to ask, "What?" The older man sternly questions the youth about arguing with his father and venturing into a dungeon, to which the bandaged young man, looking down, replies that it's his own life and none of his brother's concern. The older brother states, "I see. If you want to risk your life and do whatever, I'll respect that." He advises his younger sibling, "But if you still care about your family, cherish your life," adding that being an explorer isn't the only path. As the older brother turns to leave, the injured young man calls out, "Wait." The bandaged youth, his face shadowed, hesitantly utters, "Brother," with fierce determination. He then shouts his desire to leave the Kazami family. The scene shifts to Rue, now with silver hair, diligently performing pull-ups on an outdoor bar in a sunlit park. Internally, Rue considers that to disassemble more monsters, he needs Kuji to cooperate with him on two specific matters. His first idea involves creating several fake identities and using them interchangeably with his real one, thereby lowering the risk level if he makes a mistake. The second plan is to have Kuji purchase a dungeon, as even a D-rank forest can be richer in resources than a C-rank desert, since items produce depend on the environment. This explains why some explorers sell dungeons, though it's cautioned that without a trustworthy buyer, one might regret it later. While performing an inverted hang, Rue thinks he needs someone trustworthy with broad connections. What he truly desires makes his red eyes narrow with a bead of sweat, sensing an unexpected presence. A young man with dark, neatly styled hair and a red tie appears with cheerful aura, causing Rue to look up in surprise. Rue drops from a bar, landing firmly on the ground. The young man introduces himself as Yasukaji Kazami, reminding Rue that he helped him in a dungeon before. Rue acknowledges he remembers Yasuke and asks if he needs anything, nervously inquiring if he can go on adventures with him. Rue looks visibly surprised by Yasukaji's unexpected request. Yasukaji earnestly explains that Rue didn't give up against unbeatable enemies, and he wants to be like him. Admitting he's not strong but will do his best, Rue stands tall and questions if Yasukaji came because he looked into him. Yasukaji stammers that he just wanted to see him and meant no offense. Dismissively, Rue states there's no point in following someone like him who has no abilities, telling Yasukaji to go home. Internally, Rue acknowledges that Yasukaji technically helped him too, making them even, but he dislikes people who give up easily. He sternly tells Yasukaji, "Don't follow me. Don't come see me again." As Rue begins to jog away, Yasukaji calls out, "Wait!" Watching Rue depart, Yasukaji clenches his fist and declares, "I won't give up." Later, Rue stands with Kuji before a dungeon portal, stating he tried various sources, but lately no one is selling dungeons. Kuji asks, "Why is that?" Lighting a cigarette, Kuji replies, "Who knows?" But apparently, the pattern of dungeon appearances is changing. It's info I work hard to get. Rue questions if dungeon appearances aren't supposed to be consistent. Kuji responds, "There's no such thing as something that never changes," making Rue wonder if this is good or bad for humanity. Rue then asks, "So then," as Kuji looks slightly surprised over his shoulder. Yasukaji suddenly appears behind them, waving cheerfully. Kuji, noticing him, asks Rue, "You've been followed around for over half a month now. Who is it? Is it a stalker?" Yasukaji, looking exasperated, explains he was at a party with Rue before and has been following him since. Kuji remarks, "Popular, huh?" Rue confronts Yasukaji in a rocky area, asking about his true intentions and stating that merely wanting to adventure together won't suffice indefinitely. Yasukaji earnestly insists he's not being deceitful and genuinely desires to accompany Rue, whom he perceives as strong, prompting a surprised response from Rue with a skeptical expression. Rue reiterates that he's merely a rear scout, a point he has made numerous times before. Yasukaji passionately affirms his seriousness, countering that Rue is no ordinary individual and likely has many companions. He adds that he has witnessed many powerful individuals, but has never seen someone charge an enemy with such conviction in a dire situation. Looking determined, Yasukaji fervently declares his aspiration to become someone like Rue. In a chibi depiction, Yasukaji explains that because of his personality and abilities, he is constantly compared to his older brother, a situation he despises. While a chibi version looks taken aback, Rue, with a thoughtful expression, inquires about Yasukaji's older brother. A sudden realization dawns on Rue, his eyes widening as he wonders if Yasukaji's brother is who he suspects. A flashback shows a cheerful chibi Nana enthusiastically presenting a photograph, exclaiming that it's a picture of the 7 stars. Continuing the memory, Rue, while cooking in an apron, examines the photo Nana offers as she explains that Fischl wanted a group picture, leading Rue to question the 7 stars. With a shocked expression, he asks Yasukaji if his brother is Shun Kazami, to which Yasukaji confirms, a spectral image of the imposing Kazami appearing above them. Internally, Rue reflects that he'd heard Kazami had a younger brother, but never imagined it was Yasukaji, as shadowy figures of the 2 siblings are shown. He then considers how their personalities are complete opposites, pondering the kind of upbringing the Kazami family provides. Rue tells Yasukaji he'd like to grant his wish, but simply desires a peaceful life and doesn't take on little brothers or partners who require assistance. Yasukaji, looking downcast with a bead of sweat, begins to protest. But Kuji, standing by a swirling dungeon portal, calls out, "Rue, work." Rue, turning from Yasuke, replies, "Yeah." With a final glance, he bids Yasukaji farewell, saying, "See you," leaving Yasukaji looking disheartened. Inside a cavern, Rue and 3 other support explorers stand before a colossal crystal-encrusted monster corpse. One explorer complains about the difficulty of harvesting it and needing to leave early for his daughter's birthday. Rue, with a slight smile, reassures one of the older support members that there doesn't seem to be anything noteworthy, suggesting he head back first while Rue takes care of the remainder. The explorer gratefully agrees, saying he'll leave it to Rue and treat him to a meal next time as he and the other 2 depart, leaving Rue alone with the massive carcass. Kneeling beside the crystal-encrusted monster corpse, Rue hopes for better materials this time as the silhouettes of the other explorers recede. His gloved hand glows with blue energy as he touches the creature, causing it to disintegrate into particles. Notifications appear. Acquired dried octopus tentacle X3 and acquired damaged octopus skin X1. A new blue interface then announces acquired bronze body X1, with a note explaining that the skill increases physical durability, making Rue exclaim in surprise. He smiles, realizing that if he trains with the skill combined with defense arts, his physical durability will increase significantly. Suddenly, Rue's red eyes widen as a bead of sweat forms, sensing something amiss. He wonders what's going on when the explorer who left earlier reappears at the cavern entrance, questioning why there are no monster corpses when it's not yet time for them to disappear. Half-shadowed, the explorer glares suspiciously at Rue, whose own eye reflects unease, demanding, "What did you do?" Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more content. Feel free to leave a comment down below sharing your thoughts or suggestions. If you want to stay updated on our latest uploads, click the notification bell icon. And hey, why not check out some of our other videos popping up on the screen right now? If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really means a lot. Peace.